Welcome in everybody. My name is Mitch and welcome back to my weekly video on Jamie's channel. I'm riding solo tonight, giving Matty T the week off after a mammoth 1 hour video last week with me. It was so much fun to do. We could talk footy for hours. So massive shout out to you guys for jumping in the comments and watching the video. If you watched it all, I don't know how you could get through an hour of me talking about football, but I'm glad you did. A massive shout out to Jamie as well for letting me jump back on each week. I'm loving getting to know you guys and jumping on and really helping me keep myself accountable as well for fantasy in 2025. So just going to be going over my team and how I performed in week two. I didn't have the greatest week considering I've seen a lot of teams on Facebook and group chats score over 1,000 points, which yeah, it's not great for me, but I'm stoked for all you guys. We'll go over a little bit, a few questions pre-TLT. This video is being recorded on a Monday night, so still a lot to pan out over the next 28 to 48 hours. So, yeah, we're heading into round two. I scored a 950, which is not great. In my eyes, I aim for the sky with fantasy and I take this stuff pretty seriously. So it was a pretty tough week for myself. However, the shining light is I did save two trades. So I didn't end up trading last week, which I'm really, really happy with. I saw a lot of people floating the idea of Metcalf to Humphreys. I know Scoop did that trade, and me and him had a bit of a conversation about it. And I was telling him that if I didn't have Humphreys from round one, I would have 100% made that trade too. So pretty lucky on my end that I ended up starting with Humphreys. He's up 158K or whatever, 138K, sorry, from when I picked him up in round one. So absolutely stoked with that. But yeah, my squad 950. It's not great. It's not the end of the world. It is round two. It's a very, very, very long season. And to bank two trades in round one, it's something that I don't think I've ever done before, believe it or not. And I've got my trade history from last year too on here, which I'll go over in a little bit in this video, just to give some context on where I finished round two, where I finished the season at. And it's going to really give you guys a bit of a heads up that it is a very, very long season. And believe it or not, I'm in a much better position right now than I was this time last year. So that's definitely a bonus. So I think we'll just start from the top. There's obviously you guys have all watched Jamie's videos. You all know who played, what they scored, and everything like that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. That's not really why I'm here. We all know Connor Watson's really good. Guys like Corey Horsburgh, phenomenal score, really good role. I actually don't own him. So you guys don't really need me to tell you why you should go and buy him or why he's a really, really fantastic trade in. That's more Jamie's sort of vibe and why you guys watch him and his analysis. So what I will do with Corey Horsburgh especially is talk about how I just can't manage to fit him into my side, and I'll do that soon. So starting with the top, Connor Watson, I believe he's the best hooker he was the best hooker heading into 2025 in fantasy season, averaging a massive 77 and a half. Definitely did not expect that, and that definitely will come down. He won't average that. Most of these really, really top guys won't be averaging what they're priced at right now. It's fine. But Connor Watson, 90, scoring a double, absolutely love that. I didn't pick Harry Grant. I was telling everybody that thought Connor Watson was probably a better selection heading into round one. Harry Grant just had that bye. Pretty low score round one, but you don't want to look too much into that. They pumped Parramatta, so that was always going to happen. Didn't have enough time to get the base, but Connor Watson, a phenomenal, phenomenal start to my year for my team, especially, and someone that's really, really holding down the fort. He's owned by 26% of people, so it's pretty common that a lot of top tier coaches and most of you probably do own him. Would I aim to bring him in? I think I would. I think the drop off from him to Harry Grant won't be anything crazy, but Connor Watson is just killing it at the moment. He's really, really gun fantasy scorer, has the duel as well, and he's going to make a lot of cash. He's going to be priced near the 800K mark very, very soon. So I think really good score for him. I'm stoked with that. Terrell May, I won't spend too much time on. Everybody's probably got him, and if you don't, you're probably not really playing fantasy seriously. So another great score. The the interesting topic for him would be, do you want to captain him this week? And it's something that I will probably think about. I've got a few pretty interesting things that I want to do with my team this week. and a certain Panthers fullback who should be named in the fullback jersey is someone that's really piquing my interest. Maybe I'll touch on that soon. Maybe I won't. I'll keep that a little surprise for next week if I end up doing something like that. But Terrell May, do captain him against the Dolphins this week, I believe. Uh, why not? I mean, Cleary's playing Penrith. They don't have Dill Edwards. Something that I'm definitely going to have a think about. We'll go to Fish first. Absolutely stoked with this score. Still scored 1 point under Horse, which I was loving it when he played and Horse hadn't played yet. I was like, oh, thank God I didn't make the trade. And I'm still very happy I didn't make the trade. 57, I think he played about 60 minutes, which is definitely on the higher echelon on minutes wise that I thought he was going to get heading into the preseason. But I've really been big on him all preseason. The Warriors showed the blueprint on how they need to play, and one of Fish or Barnett needs to be on the field at all times, and I think they nailed it. Round one was a mistake, rotation wise, and that's why I didn't trade Fish because it wasn't really the game for the Warriors. It was a bit of a fluke game rotation wise, and we got out of it with a 51, which I was stoked for. So a 57 in 60 minutes. I think the minutes will definitely drop. I can see him averaging closer to that 55, 56, but I don't see any lower than that because they need him on the field to win games. They play the Roosters this week, Friday, 6 p.m. And the Roosters are getting some forwards back, and they're going to really need him up front. And yeah, I'm really happy he's made 20K so far, break even at around 35. I can see him getting up to that 700, 720 range, which I'm stoked with. That's why I picked him. So, this was a hard watch. I didn't really vent my frustration out to any of my mates or the group chats or anything like that because I was so happy with Fish and Luke Metcalf and holding those guys in the game before. But Isaiah, I've never in my entire life watched him play like that. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was sick or if he was carrying a little bit of a niggle. Nothing has really come out post game about why he played the way he did. But it was so strange. Every time they would run to the middle, the Roosters forwards, he would make a tackle and then pull back and then kind of float towards the edge on the right hand side, especially if I was watching him like a hawk, and I wasn't checking the scores because I just didn't want to go near it. He would make the tackle and then pull back the 10 meters and then just hover over to the halves. And I was like, what are you doing? Normally he makes a tackle, he stays at marker and he chases and he hovers around that middle and he'll make four tackles a set. It was a horrible watch, and it's really, really frustrating that Payne Haas is all of a sudden is just throwing 10,000 offloads a game, and Isaiah Yeo is making 25 tackles and missing four. It's a horrible, horrible idea. Good thing for non-owners is he's priced at about his break even is about 84, 85, give or take. So even if he scores, his 60, 65, he's going to start losing a lot of cash, and you're going to get him closer to that 770, 780. So you absolutely by no means want to trade him to Payne Haas or trade him at all. It's sideways, and I wouldn't say it's backwards, but you don't trade these high level keepers because my thoughts this week against Melbourne is Yo's going to come out with a 67, 68. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to need him too. Melbourne off a bye. It's going to be a cracking game, but they need Yo. If you trade Yo to Payne Haas, there's a solid chance that Payne Haas could score under Yo this week. I believe they play. I'm a Broncos fan, obviously, so we play the Cowboys this week, and I can see us playing really, really well, and Haas getting that 49, 50, 51, 52 minutes again, and it comes down to his offload game. It's a 2 game sample size of Payne Haas, especially where he's all of a sudden throwing 5, 6, 7 offloads a game. He wasn't doing this last year. So if it's a tactic of his now that he's this type of player, then unreal. But now he's already priced at about 66. So he has to be scoring, these high numbers, which don't get me wrong, he is. He's averaging 83 points in 2 games. But I just don't think it's worth trading Yo. And I don't think any of you guys, especially, would be considering that if you picked Yo. You picked Yo for a reason. And this was an outlier of all outlier games. He will never, ever score like this ever again. And I can nearly guarantee you that. So I think we just let it through to the keeper with Yo. We forget about it, throw it in the bin. Still a great captaincy choice, still an unreal VC choice, and yeah, I'm going to hold him all year. It's just it makes it hard seeing Payne has to do these absolute nuclear numbers. If you've got both, if you've got Haas, you're loving it, but I would by no means break your team apart to do it. Round two, the 27 round comp. It's a long season. I'm seeing people float some pretty crazy trade ideas, and they are good trades. It's nice to have Payne in your team, but I'm seeing guys want to trade Hopgood, want to trade Yo to get Haas, and I just think it's a massive mistake. We've seen floor games from these other guns, and we've seen Haas go nuclear. So the tide will turn, especially for someone like Hopgood, who he's playing massive minutes, 72 minutes last week into 65 this week. Parramatta can't get any worse than what they can. And yeah, I like Hopgood. He's got the jewel. I won't be trading him personally. I've seen people float the idea, and I think it's a massive, massive mistake. Tommy Gilbert, came back down to earth this week. So a lot of people tried to sideways trade him, Seyfarth to Gilbert. I've seen Metcalf to Gilbert, and I was just like, he made 60 tackles last week. It's not always going to happen. He can definitely be used more. I think he played lesser minutes this week. Great score, great to have in your team. But again, I would not be sideways trading, guys. It's a very, very long season. I've said it a few times. So has Jamie, even Nicky in his Q&A. It's fun to trade. I get that. And I've got some pretty fun ideas this week. But, you know, Seyfarth to Gilbert, was that a mistake? Probably not. But could you have done without doing that? I think so. It's all hindsight in a sense. But another big one for my side, Luke Metcalf. Now, I held last week. I definitely did not expect a 64 and a try in the 80th minute. Oh, it was unreal scenes when he scored that try. Half the people in our group chat was going crazy, me included. Half of them were filthy. I don't think I heard from Jamie for a good 24 hours after that. He went AWOL. He stopped replying to my text because he was filthy. So, but yeah, a bit unlucky on that one. Luke Metcalf had a cracking game. You couldn't have really expected him to score a try in the 80th minute. That score is realistically a 56 or whatever the number is without that try at the end. And he scored like 40 or 45 points in the one half. So it was about a 10-point second half if you don't include the try, which is why everybody was jumping off Jamie Humphries. I still think that trade will work out long term. Like Jamie said in a few of his videos, Metcalf comes up against Angus and Mark Nawaqanitawase this week. So it's going to be a pretty scary watch. Owning Metcalf, I'm not expecting a try or a crazy amount of attacking stats. If he can keep the kick meters split like it was in the first half against Manly, where he kicked everything and Chanel had no kick meters or close to zero, then that'll be really, really good. And I expect Metcalf to start really making some cash. Hopefully he can average close to 40 to 44 and get that cash making going, and help people who held him. But if you didn't go from him to Humphries, look, it's pretty tough considering Humphries scored 70, made 80K, but you're happy with Metcalf. Cleary, everybody's got him. You either captain him or you don't this week against Melbourne. Pretty scary. First game on the week, Thursday. The Thursday night curse from last year. Do you want to captain him? I probably will, but I will flirt with the idea of going Terrell May. Not much to really talk about on Cleary. Garrick, again, a season-long play for me. He didn't score great. Got pretty lucky with that try assist. That probably shouldn't have been a try. Turbo and DC look like they're fine, so I'm happy with Garrick. Not too fussed with him. It's a season-long play having him in my centers. Yeah, moving on with that. Poya, keep the cash gen going. Really good score. A week-to-week play in the centers. Happy with that. Everybody's got him, and if you don't, get him because he's going to make a big cash. KP, absolutely thrilled with this score. A lot of people have him, but a surprising amount of people also don't. That number is very, very inflated with casual fans, not people really watching this video. So happy with his score, 82. I definitely did not expect this heading into round one. Gunwing fullbacks typically start slow and lose a lot of cash, but KP is on fire. And I wouldn't captain him, but I think yeah, he plays the Titans this week, so he's going to absolutely demolish the Titans because they were dreadful on Sunday night. Happy with Ponga and Tamale again. Gun, well, not a gun wing fullback, but really gun to have early in the season. Going to make a lot of cash. Going to get to 500, 550 very, very quickly, and a really good weekly play. I wouldn't really bother looping him. I would rather use that loop on a more efficient player like a Duffy, Cole, Sandon type thing. I'd trust Tamale and then loop one of those other guys. With especially this week, I don't have any Dragons players, and I know a lot of people don't. So having Hubner there is a really good loop, which I didn't have this week, which you can see in my scores. I stuffed my bench up. I should have played Hubner. I wasn't going to play Sandon against Penrith. I don't think anybody was going to do that unless you had a few Melbourne players to loop, so that's fine. But Hubner, yeah, just last week kind of scared me off a little bit with his 60 minutes and pretty poor, 30 or 35, whatever it was, a lot of missed tackles, but he killed it. When he came back on in the second half, I was like, oh, he's looking at him. He was in everything. He was in every tackle. And I was furious because a lot of people have or played him and I didn't. So yeah, it is what it is. And Iongi's the big one. I don't think I'm going to flirt with the idea of trading him because, game theory in a sense is he's owned by everybody. Whether or not you play him or not, he's due a big score. All he needs is like a 40, 45 to get his price moving in the right direction. It's just scary because will he get that? Parramatta are so bad. They're dreadful. They're a bottom four side with no Mitch Moses. And it's come out today that he's not going to be back for another 6, 7 weeks, whatever that number is. And I don't think I can stomach playing him because they're so bad. And he's the type of fullback that tries to he's the Scott Drinkwater type where he contacts the defender and then just gets bounced off. Or when, like Stafford Toa's try on Sunday went through and he tried to make a tackle, but it was so poor. And that's a -2. That's a missed tackle. And it's such a hard watch. But he's owned by everybody. If I can get away with putting him in the emergencies, then I think I will. And that's the plan heading into this week. I think I haven't had too much time to think about my trades and all of that. And I've got some pretty crazy things I'm cooking up. So we'll get into that. Maybe I might put that out into the universe, but we'll see. Heading over to the bench, Mamazoulis stoked with that try, gets his cash making in the right direction. He will easily get to that 500k, and hopefully we can get some big scores out of him. Seyfarth, I'm pretty happy I held. 42 is not great considering he had an offload in there, but 80 minutes in that, 35, 36-degree game it was hot. It was hot in my room watching the game. So I couldn't imagine what it's like being out there. So he's really good duel. I think I'm going to keep. He is probably one of the guys who could be my stepping stone to an interesting choice, but I think I'm going to hold. It is round 2. I like to make some pretty crazy plays, round 15, round 16. So round 2 or 3, I might just tame it down a little bit. I'm really happy with him. Humphreys, everybody jumped on this week. I was talking to all the boys. I said, how nice was it when his number was only at 6%, not 30? So cracking score. He's going to make bulk cash. If he keeps the spot, he is an elite fantasy player. It's a long season. So, if he does eventually get dropped or loses the spot, he would have made 300, 400k by then. And maybe we can turn him into a Payne Haas or whoever is up there. But for now, enjoy the cash gains, enjoy the gun scores, and maybe you're even a bit of a weapon and you want to throw the C on him. I don't think I could do that, but who do they play this week? They play the Sharks. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't do that. But Tom Duffy as well, last player on my bench that I played. He was poor. I said to a few of the guys, he had five missed tackles, and not all missed tackles are the same. In fantasy, they all count for the same, but in real life, they don't. I think he played as well as he could in a team that is just dreadful, probably worse than the Eels. He had that really poor tackle on Ronaldo when Mulatalo made that massive line break, but every other tackle I felt was one of like K or Iro or Ronaldo kind of making contact, and he was the only defender there. He had no help around him, so of course the young halfback was going to get bumped, and that's a -2. But he's doing majority of the kicking. I don't think he will get many attacking stats against my Broncos this week. Well, I hope not, because I hope we win. So I'd look to potentially not play him in the 17 if you can afford that. I'm not sure if many teams can with Hubner on the bye. Newcastle next week. A lot of teams have 2 or 3. Good luck to those guys who have 3 nights next week as well, and a Hubner, but that's a whole other story. So yeah, Jack Cole, does he keep the spot? I don't know. He's pretty bong average the last few weeks. Really, really slow burn. He just needs that 140 and get his price moving in the right direction. Against Melbourne this week, I highly, highly doubt that happens. Hubner, unreal. Do not trade him. He is out for 2 weeks. Use him as a looper. It might be pretty tough next week with your Newcastle players, but he's going to make big, big cash. I wouldn't really let Aitken coming back into the side, like, hurt him too much. Minus break even, he's going to make really big coin. Do not trade him. Sandon Smith, is this the week you finally play him? 240, like a 47 and a 44 back to back. Do you play him this week? I don't think I can. I think maybe he could be the option that I try to loop. I don't think I have what's the word that I can say? The guts to just outright play him. And Jackson Purdue is probably the only player in my side that I'm not too happy with. 22 with a sin bin and a try. It's not great. He probably is my target to start for Toa at the moment. And as you can see, that's what I've done so far heading into round 3. I've had a little bit of a play. I've moved some things around. And so far, the only trade that I've done, I only had about 50K in the bank, was Jackson Purdue to start for Toa. Probably will be the way I leave this side, whether or not I captain Cleary or May or however I move the bench around. I've got Cole in the loop slot because Penrith play first against Melbourne. Maybe I try to loop Sandon instead and then play, between him and Duffy. But yeah, didn't trade last week. At the moment, I've only got one trade. And the interesting person that I really like the look of is Dane Laurie. So I had a bit of a think about him last night before lockout and just, thinking to myself, and I just don't think he gets a long enough runway. Dylan Edwards, NRL physio, was saying 2 to 3 weeks. If he was to get 3 weeks and he does play Melbourne, I think I do want to take the punt on him. I don't think I will, but I definitely want to. I just have no clear way to get to these sort of guys because I'm really happy with my team as well. And that's why I don't have Corey Horsburgh. I would love to have him. And if I was to do it, it would have been last week with Seyfarth and Metcalf up down. But I didn't do that. And I didn't like the idea of it. And Metcalf come out and scored 64. So the only way I could get to him, and obviously I'm not going to trade Metcalf now. He just scored 64. He's just got his money making in the going up. So I'm not going to trade him. I'm very top heavy, which I really, really like. And I haven't had any mid ranges that have failed. So everybody's making cash, some more than others, except Jackson Purdue. And I can get him to start for Toa, who's got a minus break even. I'm not expecting a 54 or 55 every week, but I feel comfortable playing him over Iongi. I think at this point in time, Iongi plays the Dogs, and I know they're missing Burton and Kickow, but that'll be a hard game. And Parramatta are just so rubbish that if I can do this next week with Kalen out as well, I needed a centre/wing fullback with the duel. So KP's out next week. I can bring Iongi in for next week and not really worry about that. But I do like the look of Dane Laurie. I'm not suggesting everybody does it because I think there's a good chance it doesn't work and it's a bit of a sideways/backwards trade. But the idea of it is really exciting to me. And when I have an idea or a gut feel, I tend to usually do it. So I doubt I will, but I'm just throwing it out into the universe where if Laurie comes out and kills it and averages like 57, then I guess everybody can be like, well, like this guy said he was good. But don't do it, I don't think. So this is currently what I'm thinking about heading into round 3. I don't think I'll use another trade, which means I would have banked 3 trades already in round 3, which is insane. And this is why I brought this up here. This is my last year's season. So obviously I finished ranked 21 overall, which pretty good. Really, really lucky as well. Like I had a lot of luck. But if you actually look at my trades here, I used maximum trades all the way until round 10, where I only used the one. So I double, triple traded, and then into one. The first week that I didn't trade was actually, what round was it? 10, 11, 12. So round 12, I didn't use any trades, which is pretty crazy. This year we're getting really, really lucky with the start. We're making a lot of cash, like a ton of cash. As you can see in my rank value here, my squad value, I'm already up 700K. So, these top teams have definitely made a bit more cash than I have. A lot of these teams will have Payne Haas, where I've got Isaiah Yeo, things like that. That's kind of what's helping the payments. So, yeah, just heading back to this here, I used a lot of trades at the start, and last year we really needed to. Like last year, I don't know if you guys can remember, it was bad start. Nobody was making cash. Everybody was injured. I think these couple of rounds here, I could barely field 17, and my 17 were all dud players. And I ran out of trades in round 25. And I got really, really lucky because 26 and 27, there was like no restings, no injuries, no suspensions, and we got our Penrith players the rest of the way there. I had Isaiah Yeo in 26, 27 come out and just kill it with 280s. Years gone by, these Penrith boys are getting rested. So I don't think we're looking at that and going, okay, we're getting really, really lucky. Let's just trade heavy because, we can save some trades in the middle of the year. You don't trade because you feel like you have to, or you don't trade because you're a little bit bored and you want to trade for fun. I'm seeing a lot of sideways trading, and it's not a good idea. You're going to wish you had these trades in 10, 12, 15 weeks time. And I think people are looking into the new buys as well, like a little too much. Oh, we only get 13 for the minor buy rounds. That means we won't need enough trades. It's easier. We can go heavy. We can go hard now. And I think that's a good idea. But also, you might be looking into that too much because I'm seeing a lot of people trying to do these sideways trades, and they're like, oh, it's fine. Come round 13. We only need to field 13. So it's fine. I don't need to trade then. And yes, to a degree that is true. But if you're holding trades now, you still have an avenue and you still have a runway to launch come round 13. When everybody's fielding 13 guys, maybe you've got 15, 16, but you're like, hey, I can get this gun who's going to score 30 more points than your other player who's like a bench player. And like, yes, you both have 13 players, but also your 13 is so much more stacked than this person's because you've made the right trades early. You've got the right cash makers. You haven't wasted trades. You haven't gone for a Hopgood to Haas, and then Haas gets injured, so you've gone back to Hopgood, and then you go Hopgood to someone else. You're using the correct trades, and it's a long, long, long season. So I'm quite happy to have banked three so far. Chances are I bank three. I don't think I'll make the other one. And yeah, I'm thrilled with that. So that's pretty much my team and where my head's at. I know a lot of boys in a few of the other group chats that I'm in with Jamie in the private group are a bit worried about the strategy sort of thing, but I wouldn't really worry too much about that. Take it one round at a time and look into it as you go. Probably the last starting point that I want to touch on too before I end this video. I don't know how long it'll be, but Jamie's given me permission to yap, so I will take that for granted. Is Matty Nicholson, who's going to be a very, very hot topic heading into this week with Zach Hosking presumably out with a broken hand or whatever it is. So Matty Nicholson scoring at 82. I don't know how I feel about him. I won't be bringing him in. And I feel like if I had an avenue to bring him in, like if I owned Hosking, would I drop from him to Matty Nicholson? And I don't think I would. He's got a really, really, really low break even. So I think if he scores, if he averages 40 or whatever the number is, or he's going to make some pretty quick cash, but I just don't love it. I just don't love the idea. It gives me vibes of points chasing. He's a 21 English back rower coming over from the Super League. He scored 2 tries last week, 2 line breaks. If you want to give each of the tries 2 tackle breaks, because I think that's what they were, or whatever the number is, his his actual base drops down to like a mid 40s, I guess, which is fine. It's really good for the price. But I think people are seeing this 82 and they're getting really, really excited. I think they play Manly this week too. So what side will he be on? He will be on the right, which it is Burbo's side, so it's not Olakau'atu. But I just don't love it. Maybe it's because I don't have any Canberra players. I don't have big Corey Horsburgh, which again I can't get this week because my team won't allow for it. And I'm being smart with my trades. I could tear my team apart for him, but I won't be as of yet. Maybe I'll have a change of heart. But yeah, I don't love the idea of Matty Nicholson. If he comes out and he kills it with a 50, he's going to make a lot of cash, and the people who do jump on him are going to be really, really happy. But just remember, guys, the amateurs in their podcast the other week put it really, really well. It's like Pokemon. You can't catch them all. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss out on Matty Nicholson. I don't have Horsburgh right now, but I'm fine with that. I have a really, really good team I'm happy with. I'm banking some trades. Everybody is making cash now, especially with me going from Purdue to Staffatoa, if named. And remember, guys, this is all pre-TLT. Usually I have a really good mindset on what I want to do for the week before team lists. I watch enough football to know what's usually going on and if someone, is named or isn't named. So this is my team pre-TLT. it'll probably stay exactly the same. I doubt I'll take the C off Cleary. They're going to come out and pump Melbourne and or try to pump Melbourne, and Isaiah Yeo's going to make 1,000 tackles. So that'll probably be it for this video. I don't want it to be too long. I get people probably sick of hearing me talk. So just a massive shout out to everybody who does stay to the very end. And just remember, guys, too, if you have any questions or comments or feedback, whatever it may be, leave it in the comments and I'll jump on my personal account and reply. It's usually the only video that I'll jump on and do it with. I feel like it's a really good way for me to connect and, talk and answer some questions and jump on and talk footy. I like to leave all the other stuff to Jamie and actually Nicky with his Q&A. He's killing it. So I usually only reply to comments on my little segment on the video. So I'll jump on and I'll do that. And massive shout out to you guys for listening. And I hope you have a gun of a week. So thanks, legends. Have a good one.